Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media coming to you live from South Africa.
The time is just gone 9:49 a.m. on News and Views this morning, and as we head towards closure this morning, we are taking a look ahead at the budget for 2021 that will be presented by the Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni. And we know of various forms of taxes, and one of them being the sugar tax. And there have been calls for the Finance Minister to double South Africa's health promotion levy, which is commonly known as the sugar tax, in his budget next week. We joined on the line by Lawrence Mbalati, head of Healthy Living Alliance. Lawrence, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and good morning to the listeners.
All right, the Healthy Living Alliance, obviously an NGO, and ahead of the budget, you are now making this call for Tito Mboweni to double the health promotion levy.
Yes, certainly. I think we are sitting as a country in a situation that is a time bomb. Never mind that we actually have known that the non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and other conditions have been, on the increase, and actually they are affecting the public health care. The pervasive nature of the non-communicable diseases, comorbidity with COVID-19, has resulted in many lost lives. So that could have been avoided. So I think we are saying this is the moment, as part of the COVID response and beyond, to double up efforts, put in our toolbox strong policies, and that can actually protect the population of the people. So this is the opportunity, I think, for South Africa to double up the sugar drink tax as a way of reducing consumption, excessive consumption of sugar, in particular liquid sugar, which is central to the diet-related non-communicable diseases. And in South Africa, type 2 diabetes in particular, that is a big problem.
Yes. Now, obviously, there are two issues here. One, with regard to a genuine concern as far as sugar is concerned from a health perspective, but also in terms of a revenue generation mechanism through taxes. We know that since the levy was introduced in 2018, it has generated a fair amount of money and for the government. But the key issue here is to find this balance in terms of, how much would the government, how much or how effective or how much value can the government generate from the area, from this all this money that they are receiving as a result of this levy?
Yes, that's, I think, a very good discussion point and a question. So we know in the first year, so the tax was introduced in April 2018 to April 2019, government raised over 3 billion. The second year, that's April 2019 to April 2020, it raised over 2.5. So we have over 5 billion that was raised as a revenue from the sugar drinks tax or health promotion levy. So in the short term, the generating of these taxes will add more value in terms of, dynamic fiscals, in terms of providing the essential services. Now, we're talking of COVID-19, people living with comorbidities, people living with non-communicable diseases, are much more at risk of, having severe COVID-19 symptoms and actually even at the risk of mortality. So we believe this is a genuine time as part of the COVID-19 to encourage South Africans to reduce overconsumption of sugar in our diet. And I think policies should be part of the toolbox, but collectively, we are launching today a mass media campaign that is looking to raise awareness, for communities and for the population, to know about the risk and the harm of overconsumption of sugar. you will know that we used to have indigenous ways of our in our diet, but the commodifying of the food system has actually moved people from some of the healthy diets that we used to have in the indigenous knowledge and the indigenous way of living. So I think this is becoming a problem, and the government has to take reasonable measures and steps to actually make sure that it can promulgate policies that can protect and make sure that we can realize the right to life.
Lawrence, do we have any idea or any statistics since the sugar tax was obviously introduced in 2018? From a consumption perspective, has it reduced consumption patterns of sugar?
Very good question. So we have had two studies recently published. One in the study that was done in Soweto, and another one that was done in Lang. These studies are showing a significant reduction of sugar. So up to 60% in the study that was done in Soweto for people who were high consumers. So between medium and high level consumers, we have seen a significant reduction. So the track is starting to show at the very much early stages that it is doing what it's intended to do. That is to reduce consumption of sugary drinks in the short term and raise revenue in the short term, and in the long term reduce the obesity and overweight, and which is related to non-communicable diseases such as diabetes type 2.
Are we just restricting this to sugar drinks, or are there other areas as well?
So the campaign up to this far is based on evidence. So the first aspect of the evidence is actually because the sugary drink is just liquid with sugar without nutrients. But we have also found that fruit juice can have same or more content of sugar as in the sugar sweetened beverages. But I think now the more data is required in terms of does the sugar content that is contained in fruit juices outweigh some of the nutrients that could be that's like fiber and other nutrients that are in the fruit juice. So I think that will be an ongoing research-based need, and that we will support as Healthy Living Alliance, and also to look at looking at expansion, to other products that have a high content of high sugar content.
Yes. Now I see the one point that you've made is should the government double up on the sugar tax, and we know at this point in time the healthcare system is under severe pressure, particularly in terms of understaffing, problems associated with paying healthcare workers and also other community healthcare workers. So this is one recommendation that you are making, that this money could go towards some of these initiatives as well.
Yes, we understand that the National Treasury is not very much in favor of reinforcing because of the previous challenges. We do concur with that, but we do believe that we could have some soft reinforcing, particularly to look at emerging the epidemic of COVID-19 emerging, and then we're needing money to fund vaccine and to also protect the population, in particular people living with non-communicable diseases. And I think the provision of health care, people living with non-communicable disease need equitable health care, they need proper health care, which we know, if you're living in rural compared to when you're living in urban setting, if you have a medical aid compared to when you're using a public facility, the equity is not the same. So I think our recommendation is actually to start raising real concern and real need that this money can do in terms of like supporting government with ideas in terms of what this money can do, particularly in terms of provision of equitable and quality healthcare services.
Well, Lawrence, let's see what develops now that you have made this request in the submission to the Minister of Health, and next week, Wednesday, all shall be revealed.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to the listeners.
Take care. All the best to you. Lawrence Mbalati, Head of Healthy Living Alliance, joining us this morning with regards to sugar tax. And For those who love those fizzy drinks, that seems to be the target. And I see Shazia behind the controls there, shaking her head, saying, "Not me, not me." Yes, she's one of those, obviously, not a fan of these fizzy drinks. But time is coming to an end. It's about a minute to go before we sign off this morning. And once again, I must say, it's been wonderful. It's been an absolute pleasure being in the company of all our listeners at the various platforms on Salam Media, on Radio Al Ansar in Durban and in Pietermaritzburg, and also One Nation 88.9 FM. And just to remind you before we leave again about tonight at 9 p.m. and we've got an exciting series of lectures, and this is by a senior alim who is based in Indonesia, Maulana Rafiq Veli, covering a whole host of issues, contemporary issues that impact on us on a day-to-day basis on various levels, on a spiritual level, on a contemporary level, on a societal level, and also things that we need to focus on. And right now we are in the month of Rajab, and we know the significance of the month of Rajab ahead of the month of Shaban and Ramadan, in preparing for the month of Ramadan. And Maulana has got a series of lectures for each month, for Rajab, for Shaban, as we head into Ramadan, right up to the Hajj as well. So Alhamdulillah, he has made this entire series available to us here on Salam Media to play out. And tonight we'll be playing out at 9 p.m. With regards to this lecture and the advices as far as Rajab is concerned and the significance of this month. And with that, it's time for me to sign off. It's 10 a.m. And until we meet tomorrow, same time, same place. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Rasul, Allah hi Allah, Jishne Amand Rasul, Allah hi Allah, Bibi Amina ke pool, Allah hi Allah, Allah hi Allah, bolo Allah.